everyone, happy Friday. So I just want to do a real quick recap of the homework from yesterday. This one I'm going over with the in-person kiddos today, and so I wanted you to hear it too because I know maybe we were struggling with it or we're unsure about some stuff. So we're going to go over those and then I'll tell you what the work is for today. So on yesterday's assignment, you were given some measurements. So they gave you that DC was 2.2, FE was 6. So you were supposed to use both of those to find the missing measurement right up here of AB. So we can take 2.2 plus 6 to get 8.2 because if you look, DC and FE both make up together make up the space that AB does. That's why we added. Okay. They also gave you that BC was 11 centimeters and AF was 4.8. And so we were using that to help figure out what would ED be. So this time we knew the big length and then we didn't know the smaller, so we knew part of the smaller length, but we needed to know the rest of it. So we took 11 minus 4.8 to figure out our leftovers of 6.2. Okay, so that's how we got all those measurements. So let me just erase so you can see what I do next. Okay, I'm actually going to leave it on this screen because I might switch colors so you can see how to do this. So when you're doing problems like this, we have to break them down into shapes that we do know how to find the area of, because right now we can't just solve. So you can do this a couple different ways. You could break it into two rectangles like this. So you could have a rectangle here and a rectangle here. That's one way you could break it down. Another way you could break it down is if I drew this line straight up and did a rectangle here and a rectangle here. It really doesn't matter how you did it. I personally think of it this way, but it doesn't matter which way, your end answer can still be the same. So I'm going to focus on, and if it helps you to outline the rectangles like this, feel free to do that. I'm going to use two different colors just to keep these straight here. So give me a second. So I've got two rectangles. Let's figure out the area for them. I'm going to start with this bigger rectangle right here. So I can see, because now we have all of our measurements filled in, I can see that I've got a length of 8.2 and a width of 4.8. So I'm just going to write, I'm going to do it off to the side. That's what I'm multiplying together to find the area is 8.2 times 4.8. Okay? But remember, you can use a calculator for that. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in my calculator, 8.2 times 4.8 to figure out the area of this rectangle, which is 39.36 centimeters squared. Okay? Give me 1 second here. Make sure you're always putting those labels squared when you're finding area. So then we're almost done. We've got to figure out the area of the other rectangle. So if I look at this rectangle, be careful, that 11 was for the whole side. Well, all we want is this measurement right here, which we figured out was 6.2. And then we need this width right here, or you can think of it as length and width, it doesn't matter, 2.2. So I'm doing 6.2 times 2.2 for this rectangle. So again, I'm going to use my calculator for that, 6.2. I know my answer should probably be close to 12 because 6 times 2 is 12. Let's see if we get something close. Yeah, we end up with 13.64 centimeters squared. Okay, that's pretty close to 12. So now the last step is to find the area of the whole shape, which means I need to add the two areas of the rectangles together. So we're going to add 39.36 plus 13.64. And you can do that yourself or just type in your calculator. So I'm going to do my calculator real quick. Just hold on 1 second for me to type that because I don't have all these memorized. And we end up with 53 exactly. Oh, that kind of makes sense because some of these make groups of 10. So we end up with 53 centimeters squared as our final answer for this, okay? So if you were doing that yesterday, I hope this helps clarify just a little bit. We're going to do one more. So here was the second example from yesterday. So if you notice this time, we can break this up into a rectangle right there and a triangle right here. Okay? So I'm going to start with the rectangle just because I think that one's a little bit easier to do, and we already have the measurements because I can see right here that we've got 16 as our length, 7 as our width. So I'm going to write that in the rectangle. I think it's really helpful. Oops, sorry. I think it's really helpful to write what you're doing in the shape or near the shape so that you know that's for that specific shape. That's why I like to outline them like that. So if I do 16 times 7, again, use your calculator if you'd like, I get 112 centimeters squared. Okay? But now I need to do the triangle. Really important to remember what the triangle is. Divide by 2. Don't forget that. Okay? So let's figure out this triangle. And if I look, I'm missing both my base and my height. So we have to figure that out first. So I'm going to focus right down here. Okay? And if I look, I can see that the whole side over here is 16. And I know that part of it is 8. So if I do 16 minus 8, the rest of that, the leftover part, is going to leave me with 8 centimeters as part of my triangle. I also need to do that for this piece right here. I can see that 13 is the whole length, but I only need this little piece. So I'm going to look on the other side, and I notice that 13 is the whole part, but this part right here is the same as over here, which is 7. So if I do 13 minus 7, I'm left with 6, so that would be the other piece of our triangle. So that means I'm doing base times height, which is 8 times 6. But remember, with triangles, super, super important, you have to divide by 2. Please don't forget that part, because remember, triangles are half of that rectangle, square, parallelogram, whatever. Okay? So let's multiply first. So I know 8 times 6 is 48. We want to divide that by 2. If you want to do that in your calculator, you can. But I knew off the top of my head that was 24 centimeters squared. The last thing to do is add our areas together. So we're going to take the rectangle, which is 112, plus the triangle, which was 24, to get 136 centimeters squared. And again, if you want to use your calculator for that, feel free. But that should be your answer. So I hope that helped clarify and give you a little more practice. I know that that homework might have been hard to do independently, so if you wanted that refresher, that could help you. If you didn't do the homework yesterday, please make sure you go back and do that. And I just helped you a ton, so you should be able to do it yourself now. Today, what you're going to be doing is an exit card. There are 3 problems. There's a parallelogram, a triangle, and a irregular shape. Remember, with triangles, divide by 2. All the formulas are on there for you. You can use a calculator. You'll probably want some scratch paper. My students in class have a whiteboard they can use, but if you have one, go ahead and use it. But make sure you're using that to help. You don't need to input your answers. Your work. You just need to put your answers. So please do that. If you haven't done extra math yet this week or have some to do still, please do that. Okay, so that's your homework, exit card and extra math. If you want to play the game that's posted there too, you can, but that is not homework. The things that are homework are exit card and extra math. Okay, feel free to ask for help with an email or something like that if needed. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day.